Good evening, boys and girls. This week you are going to be working on the background of your WoW theme creature. I have my picture that I did last week that has all 4 creatures on it, and now I'm going to pick the one that I think I did the best on and I like the best. I'm going to pick this top one. You have the choice of either cutting out your animal and putting it on a brand new piece of paper, or you can draw the background just right on here and then color it next week. Either way, you need to decide you're going to have a little paper, which is the background, or you can cut it out and put your animal on a new piece of paper with a bigger background. I am going to choose to keep it like this and just focus on drawing the background on here. Now, since my background is closer, my animal is a lot bigger, my background's not going to be as big, but I can still do a background, middle ground, and foreground. The background is the space all the way behind the animal, and that is the space farthest away. The foreground you can think of as the front. So 4 is front. Middle ground is, as you can hear, in the middle. You're going to look at your animal and figure out where does it make sense most for my animal to be. Like, I want to draw this animal in the middle of the ocean because it is a land animal. I have one line drawn. This will be for my foreground. As you can see, it looks like my animal is actually on the ground. I don't want to draw my line underneath my animal because it will still look like my animal's floating. So you want to draw your line a little bit behind if you made your animal have legs. If you have a shark or something that is underwater, you can simply just draw, maybe this would be the sand with seaweed and coral or something like that, and then you can have the middle ground be your animal and the main ocean, and the top could be the line of the ocean. Now I'm going to work on my background. I can do maybe a hill in the just like this. So this would be my middle ground. Okay, I'm going to draw it a little bit darker so you can see. And then my middle ground is right here, and this is where I can add any details as well. And my background's back here. To make it look like my animal's really close up front, I don't want to make a big sun in the background. Maybe it's sun setting, or maybe it's nighttime. So I can draw a small little moon in the background to make it look like your animal is more up front. Okay? You don't want to make, if your animal is this big and your only paper is going to be this big, you want to make sure your sun or moon, whatever it is not super big. Then I can add little stars. You are only working on the background this week, so I do not want you to worry about coloring. What I want you to do is add a whole bunch of details to your background, middle ground, and foreground. If you cut out your animal and is making it on a bigger one, your background and middle ground and foreground are going to be a lot bigger because your animal's not going to be as big and taking up as much space on your paper. Now I'm going to work on my middle ground. My background is done. I'm going to go to my middle ground. I did my lines first to separate where each area is. So background, middle ground, foreground. So for my middle ground, maybe I will just add maybe he's in a flower field. So I can add just little flowers up in the distance. All different types. Again, I want you to work on details because you are not coloring this week. You are going to be coloring next week. Your foreground is going to be the area that doesn't have hardly any detail, because it will basically be either grass or sand or something like that. So it's not going to be a lot of detail unless you want to add like flowers up front too. But the most of your detail should be in the background and middle ground. Alright. As you can see, I am taking my time and I'm drawing a lot of detail. I think this is good for my animal, so I'm going to stop and I'm going to put this in a safe place for next week to color. You are not coloring this week. Again, make sure you have a background, middle ground, and foreground. All right, I can't wait to see your amazing artwork.